So, big focus for us today on all things sustainability, and who better to have in the back of our NIO this morning for a chat about sustainability, the future, innovation, and more than the man who was crowned Sustainability Champion of the region 2025 at a recent award ceremony. He is one of the top 50 sustainability leaders in the MENA region 2023. He's a sustainability strategist, a sustainability leader, and of course the founder of the award-winning Majd Talks. Majd Fayed, thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, Tom, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to tour Dubai in the NIO car.
But let's start with all things. In fact, before we do that, let's start with you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this focus that you've built over the last couple of years on all things sustainability, did it ever start out as such, or did you have like a eureka moment when you went, you know what, no, I need to get into this space to open people's eyes?
I think it's all started in my childhood. You know, I was born and raised in Lebanon, in a village in Lebanon, and living in the mountains, you would be able to actually connect with nature, and you will have time. Like, life is slow in the mountains, and you'll have time to notice nature and connect with it. So I think it all started at that point. And after, when I finished my engineering degree, I reflected and I chose actually to be working in sustainability, and not just as a career, but also making it a mission and a purpose for me.
You've continued that across the region, and more so than here in the UAE. I mean, I mentioned there, you wear a number of hats, don't you, Majd? You've got a lot going on at the moment.
Yeah.
Is that important as well, to reach a broader, wider audience?
Yeah, definitely. I always say, like, during the day, I do like a strategy and policy and on energy sustainability. At night, I'm an educator. I'm a climate advocate with Majd Talks. But I think most importantly, for people who are passionate and working passionately in sustainability, they always carry sustainability and environment in their heart. And it's not just a career, you know? It's not just I'm getting my salary out of it. So it's kind of more of a purpose, a driven life around sustainability.
I'm conscious, Majd, that you and I are in an enclosed space, so I don't want to rile you. But at the same time, I wonder if you, because as an advocate for sustainability, maybe if I play the bad cop in this one for a moment. I mean, sustainability is something that's been discussed for many, many years. You've been involved in this field for many years. Lots of companies are doing it very, very well, none more so than the manufacturers we're sitting in at the moment. Lots aren't. Why are we not seeing more sort of global uptick and more results when it comes to sustainability across industry?
Well, we're seeing progress, you know, especially if we talk sustainability, we're talking also climate action, because climate change is a critical topic in sustainability these days. And we've seen it globally. There are many countries that are committed, here the UAE being the first country in the Middle East to commit to net zero. So there is a global a drive and momentum towards adopting sustainability and decarbonization principles. However, the rate that we're going globally isn't fast enough. You know, we're seeing it. We're just talking about what is happening around the world, the heat waves. No one I spoke with the last 2 months, and they were like in Europe and Lebanon, everywhere around the world, they have experienced a heat wave, right? So they've seen that they've noticed that the weather is changing. We have much hotter summers. So we're seeing the impacts, and the impacts are very fast. But how fast can we go in terms of climate action, adopting sustainability, to be able to avoid these harmful consequences of climate change? And can we do it? As we need to act fast, and that's the main message.
And it is a multifaceted challenge. Are we too quick to use the word sustainability as this sort of overriding, okay, we must be more sustainable, we must do more, without sort of nailing down to some of the unique challenges that come within sustainability? Is the phrase sustainability used too much in terms of we must do more?
It is used in many cases in the wrong way. It's, in many cases, especially with businesses, sustainability is not only a measure that they take to have a lower environmental impact. They do that as a marketing tool. You know, many of these companies are there in sustainability just as a marketing tool. And this is where we need to avoid greenwashing. And we need to understand, if we're talking about a product, is this product sustainable? Where did you source the materials to produce this product? How is it transported to you? The end of use, how you're throwing it. Is there a chance you can return it back to the manufacturer? All of these questions need to be asked when we talk sustainability. But I think a main misconception is that sustainability is new. Actually, sustainability is not new. It's, if you look at our ancestors or the grandparents, you'll see sustainability was embedded in their lifestyle, embedded in their DNA. So I think we need to go back, get inspired by how our ancestors lived. For example, here in Dubai, how they used to live without ACs. So, and get inspired by that and develop solutions for this modern world that are sustainable.
And that sort of leads me on to my next one, because we've talked very macro about the issues that the world, the UAE and businesses are facing. But let's try and sort of focus a bit more on specific industries. Let's talk car manufacturing, if we can. We are here in a state-of-the-art electric car, which is embracing innovation, sustainability, what they call blue sky coming, thinking out of the box. From an automotive point of view and the EV, not so much revolution, but change. Again, what are the things that you like about what you're seeing when it comes to automotive, and what are the things that concern you?
So there's a lot of talk about EVs and how are EVs environmental friendly or not. We're talking about batteries, we're talking about the car manufacturing, all of that. And it's quite important to understand that whenever we look at a product, we need to evaluate based on its life cycle. So the moment the materials were extracted as raw materials until going to the manufacturing, transported to you. So this life cycle assessment is extremely important. And when we look at EVs compared to electric vehicles, compared to conventional vehicles, you'll see that EVs have lower life cycle environmental footprint. And this is quite important. They might be more expensive at the beginning, but they offer a lot of benefits on the life cycle. And I think this is extremely important, because for many people, they're saying, okay, I buy an EV, but I'm supplying it with electricity that's not generated by clean power. However, if you look at all different sectors from an electricity point of view or the power sector, there are measures taken to decarbonize the grid. So all of these sectors working together towards decarbonization will help decarbonize the product itself. And
greater adoption when it comes to EV, I suppose. Yes, you can have manufacturers like NIO doing what they're doing and others in the same field, but you need the support of government, municipal, federal and otherwise to put the infrastructure into place, surely.
Definitely, yeah. Infrastructure is quite important for EVs, especially electric vehicles. If you go, we're lucky here in Dubai and the UAE that the infrastructure is there. And it's developing. If you go to countries where there's no electric vehicle charging infrastructure, can you ask people to switch to EVs? It's not possible for them. So how can they make this choice to go to choose EVs rather than conventional vehicles? So it is very important. We need to educate definitely our people that it's important to make environmental friendly choices, but it's also very important to have the policies, the structure, the systems in place that will enable their choices. So definitely the infrastructure is quite important.
All right, let's think of another industry. Well, you don't have to go far in this town to find a bit of construction ongoing. It's one of the staples of industry here. But in terms of the construction, in terms of the buildings that are being created and built these days, again, what would be your advice to them? How would you strategize them to be more sustainable?
Yeah, for new buildings, it's first of all, let's look at numbers. So if you look at numbers, you'll see that buildings contribute to 40% of the global emissions. So it's a huge chunk coming from buildings. So, and we need to understand which part of buildings. When we talk about buildings, we directly speak about energy consumption in these buildings, the AC. That's quite important. Yeah. That's 28% of the total emissions. However, 11% also comes from the materials that are used in buildings, and that's what we call embodied emissions. So these are emissions that are stuck within the building blocks without operations, you know. So we need to address all of that, and this needs to start from the design stage. Like, okay, how I'm designing my building. Is it the size of my windows, the building orientation? These are very like small measures that can be taken at the design stage, but can reduce the energy consumption drastically during operations. And what kind of materials I'm using when, what kind of low carbon materials am I using? Green cement, green steel, all of that would reduce the environmental footprint of buildings.
You and I are taking a little trip down Jumeirah Beach Road at the moment, some iconic hotels along this road. And that, again, is one of the building blocks of the success of Dubai and the UAE in recent years. Hospitality has been key, but we're seeing bigger hotels, more hotels go up with more rooms, more keys, etc. How do you, using your consultancy hat, how do you advise the hospitality industry again and are there those brands, are there those companies that are doing things better than others, and what are the things that you liking what you see when it comes to hospitality?
There's a lot of things actually with the hospitality. Hospitality sector is one of the progressed sectors when we talk about sustainability and environment, especially with the push on ecotourism and environmental friendly tourism. So there are a lot of measures, and especially here in Dubai. If you go into a hotel, you'll definitely see some messages here and there also for guests, you know. We're not going to replace your towels, or this is an environmentally friendly hotel, turn off the light, or it turns off on its own. So there is this part of which I really like about with the responsibility of hotel to lower its emissions on operation side, but the influence it can create with guests and with the community, you know. And I think that's critical and very important. If you go to a hotel and you see these messages, you're going to see them again, another hotel. This is helping us and helping the government to educate the public and visitors about the importance of sustainability. So the influence is beyond just the operations of hotels. And I think hotels that does that in great ways and innovative ways. I've seen it in innovative ways. You can enter some hotels in Dubai where they collect, for example, plastic from the neighbors, the community, and they create art out of it. Imagine, this is beautiful, and it sends a message to the community that this is important for the hotel beyond its actual operations.
We've talked a lot about specific industries, and I suppose one of the big challenges at the moment is just the scale of the issue that we're addressing. And does that sort of create a little bit of apathy from individuals? Let's bring it back down to the individual. We've got a number of people walking around out there. What's the one change or a handful of changes that somebody can make to be more sustainable?
Well, we need to look at the individual level. We look at three areas. So first is transport. Right. This is where most of emissions come from the transportation and using of cars. So switching to electric like this one is a great option. If not, you can reduce your car trips, or you can use public transportation as well, which is also widely available here. The second area would be around food. So going vegan or vegetarian, or switching to more vegan and vegetarian meals would definitely reduce your carbon emissions for sure. The third area is your consumption in your house, your AC, your lighting, your appliances. All of that would definitely, if you reduce your energy consumption, you'll reduce your footprint. So three areas, I think transport, food, and buildings would be definitely the highest impact from an individual level.
Appears to me as well, as a father of three, that the agenda, the messaging is being driven by younger generations at the moment. Older generations can be a little bit stick in the mud, a little bit, reticent as well. Is that true? Are we seeing more impact from younger minds, younger generations at the moment in terms of adopting those day-to-day changes?
I think we've seen it, especially now in schools, that this is something that they teach in schools, you know, so, and the importance of it. And many kids and children in schools understand the impacts of climate change, and they're seeing it first-hand one, and they're learning about it. So there's a lot of potential, and we've heard it many times that students are teaching their parents, about that, and that's great, because this is where the parents listen and they kind of feel ashamed, So my kids are learning that. I need to adopt it,
Listen, we can't thank you enough for all that you're doing in this field at the moment, be it from a government perspective, be it from an industry perspective, down to the individual as well, and of course through all your socials. What keeps Majd Fayed awake at night, though, when it comes to the messages that you're trying to get across?
It's the belief that I can make impact, and I think it's very important for us as individuals to believe in our impact. If we don't believe that we can make change, we will not make a change. But if I believe, I'll put all of my effort into making change. So I think what keeps me going is I believe that one day I'll have an impact, and I think this is quite important for all of us, because whenever we feel hopeless about the situation, even though there's a lot of information and a lot of news, that you would feel like I can't make difference, But if we feel hopeless, it's very dangerous. So for me, that hope and that purpose is what keeps me going.
And that is such a quality to have, to maintain that hope as well. But look, it would be remiss of you and I not to address that there is a growing narrative at the moment of governments around the world, thankfully not the UAE government, but around the world, revoking some of the initiatives they're taking when it comes to carbon emissions, net zero, EV adoption, and otherwise. Does that concern you? I mean, is that something that keeps you awake at night? Is that something that can be addressed, or is that just part of the sort of cyclical life of governments around the world?
Well, governments around the world change, so that's one thing. Definitely, it will make it slower for us, but I think in the last decade, we've seen a lot of progress. Also, many companies cutting down on their finance and on commitments as well. But I still believe in the human power in us, as humanity driving change. So, and I still believe that change is coming. And if we don't change what's happening, you will see changes happening every day in our daily life, and we need to do something around it. So it's going to get more critical within years. So
you mentioned the word progress a couple of times throughout our chat here in the back of the NIO, and I love that idea of seeing more progress, maintaining that progress. If you had to choose one hurdle in the way of that progress at the moment, one challenge, if there is, well, maybe it's one mindset, I don't know. What is the big challenge moving forward?
I think it's more about responsibility.
Okay.
When we talk about sustainability, always talk is around we need more awareness. I don't think the issue is about awareness. We know that it is important, it is critical for us. But do we feel responsible to take action around that? I think the main issue is responsibility. Responsibility as individuals, responsibility as government, responsibility as private sector, and everyone.
Enough finance when it comes to the goals that you're looking to attain at the moment? We have seen a lot of investment in the past.
Yeah.
Is that still, the momentum still continuing?
The momentum is still continuing, and we've seen it especially here in the region. Huge investments in clean technologies, renewable energy, also investments in emerging technologies, green hydrogen, carbon capture. So we've seen investments, and I think we'll continue to see that, especially to align with the government's commitments of net zero by 2050.
We're on the way back home in the back of our NIO, having a chat with Majd Fayed at the moment. Listen, I want to ask you one more just to try and wrap things up here. You've been really kind with your time and your insights as well. But give me the Majd Talks 101, if you can, on sustainability. Again, there will be people watching this, CEOs of business, CFOs of business, ordinary individuals going about their daily life. Again, so we don't forget, so we maintain that momentum, what's the one thing to forget when it comes to the messages that you're trying to drive forward?
One key message, you mean?
Just like the thing that one should... If you wanted a mantra every morning to wake up to, well, one thing to try and keep what's the word that everyone's using? Manifest.
Okay.
How do we manifest sustainability to see the achievements?
I think sustainability is not very, as a concept, is not far from humanity.
Sure.
So, and whenever you want to live a good life and you want to live with everyone around you, this is where you be sustainable in your life and with how you connect with people. So so I think it will go back to humanity and how we value us as people and others in the world. And if we value others in the world, and if we value no matter anything which would differentiate us, if we value others and we value the coming generations, and we value our history as well, we will choose sustainable choices.
Listen, can't let you go without a little bit of a shout out for yourself. So if people want to get involved in the talks, the conversations, what do they do?
So they can check definitely Mesh Talks on YouTube and Mesh Fayyad on social media.
Check it all out.
You.
As you just heard a few moments ago there, that's innovation combining with sustainability there. That's the NIO safety and warning systems as well. Listen, you've been in the car for the last 20 minutes or so. You like the ride?
I loved it. Thank you so much for having me.
And one thing I do like, it goes back to one of your mantras, doesn't it? I've seen in the past a number of your posts suggesting that, we are a car driving community. A lot of people are dependent on cars. But fill that car. Put a load of people in that car. We've got 4 of us in here, so we're doing that, aren't we?
Exactly, definitely. We're great, doing a great job.
Maj Fayyad at Moj Talks, thank you so much indeed for your time.
Thank you
for joining us in the back of the NIO, and we will catch up soon.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
DubaiEye 103.8.
Join the conversation.